It's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you are at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this show about the great sport of geocaching. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can be part of the adventure tonight in the chat room and participate with others as they watch the show. If you are listening later, please give it a like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app so that you can get all of the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. If you have not become a patron of the Geocache Talk Network, what are you waiting for? Patron levels start as low as a Bison Tube level at $3 a month. To sign up is easy. Simply go to the Geocache Talk website and click on the Become a Patron button, or go to patreon.com/Geocache Talk. Patrons now get the famous Blackout coin, invites to special events, and other really great items throughout the year. Become a patron today. Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Submit your geocaching milestones and adventures to be published. FTF Magazine is also interactive with puzzles to solve and the hunt to find Spartacus. If you can solve the puzzle or find Spartacus, then you will be entered in to win a special pack tag. Every new subscription, you will receive a special swag pack. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.
Well, big thanks to Baker Six Clan, Derek. He's not with us tonight producing. He's with his son, came in town, so he is absent with us, but that's okay. We'll carry on. And our new patrons, Roomba Cats, Stark AZ, MP Dreyer, Fishing Kitty, Wendland Bunch, and Jaspery. So let's jump right in to show 257. So we welcome first to the show, Andy Wilson. Hey, Andy.
Hi.
Good to see you. And for at the start of the show here, we're going to talk a little bit about something special. So with us also, Po-Ann and Geo Monkey Tiger. Got to put the exclamation point on the
Please, please.
So thanks everybody for joining us tonight. And Ann doesn't have, you need to put an exclamation point at the end of yours.
And it's too late now. They don't allow it anymore.
That's true.
They don't have that symbol anymore. So
well, I made the foolish mistake of changing ours, took the ampersand out, hoping that somehow that was going to help me win something, which it didn't, and that was a mistake. So now my GC name's really long because I had to do, instead of an ampersand, I do an and. G-Slink and Slinky Mama. But
we have a forum. We have a forum in our local geocaching group, and we had to have a username for it, and it doesn't allow exclamation marks. So I'm literally EXCLAMATIONMARK at the end of mine. So
oh my God,
it's so bad.
That's kind of funny, actually.
I've said it's important. I don't know what part of it's important. Everybody's not understanding.
That's awesome.
That's dedication to write that out every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Happy Hodag says he's proud of his exclamation point. Yep. Hang on to that, buddy.
Yeah, I have a space in mine, which you can't do anymore either.
Correct. Yeah.
Ah.
Oh yeah.
And I don't even think you can do an underscore. I believe that it's all consecutive characters.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great. There's some odd. I like seeing the old ones. I wish I could go back to my old one. I guess I never tried to get it changed, but anyway, I'm okay with it. My Texas Challenge shirt says it has the end with AND, so it's like I'm good. Never mind. All right, well let's we're gonna start off before the news. We're gonna start off by a little bit of update on the Jackson County Agritourism Geo Trail Kickoff with 2 exclamation points at the end of it.
You got it. You can see who did that cache page right there.
So tell us, kind of give us first an update on, before we give an update, tell us the basics of this mega, the date, and all that. I'll give us all the pertinent information first.
the important parts.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming, that's for sure. So we have been postponed due to COVID, but we are full blown on for Labor Day weekend.
Yep.
The VIP party and for all of those that are VIPs will be Saturday evening. That's the 4th. And there will be live music and dinner and dancing. And they'll get first look at the GPS Adventures Maze. And that's Saturday night. And then Sunday will be our actual mega event.
Cool.
And thank you for putting that up there because that is our GC for our mega event.
Yep.
That'll be held on Sunday,
the
the 5th, and it'll start at 9:30 in the morning or 9 o'clock with pictures and announcements. And then 9:30, the caches will drop. And our store will open. The vendors will open. We have a carnival that will open, which will be kind of fun, something different. And it runs until and the maze will also open, and it will run until 2 o'clock on Sunday. And then we will meet back at the same location for s'mores to have some more fun, and that will be Sunday evening. We'll have several different campfires going. And we will cook s'mores, and there'll be something really special and something you can only do if you come to that event. So we encourage everybody to make sure to come back for Sunday evening. And then on Monday, we're going to have a CETO that morning, and then we will open up the Adventures Maze again, the GPS Adventures Maze, until 2 o'clock on Monday.
Oh, very cool.
That will be our weekend. So that's the little bit of the gist of it. There's a lot of things that go along with this. The actual mega event will be unveiling 14 gadget caches, which if you're able to make it to our heritage trail that we did many years ago, you'll know that the caches are, I think, top-notch kind of caches. And we hope to really put that on steroids this year and make it even better. That's great. That will be 14 of those. There'll be a passport that you can stamp. Anybody that completes it gets a trackable tag. It's really cute with a little barn on it. And you'll also have the opportunity to purchase a coin. And then
really, really cool coin, actually.
Yeah, it's got it's a workable coin that you open up. It's got little cows on the inside. It's really cute.
You can open the actual barn doors.
Yeah, it's super cute. And then
sweet.
And then along with it, if you don't have enough to keep you busy while you're here, we have a cow GeoArt that will drop. We will also have...
And that's actually 60 Wheragos.
Yeah, it's going to be Wherago cartridges. So that's going to be a little bit different. You can add your Wherago count for that. And then we're going to have 39 challenges that are just really unique challenges. They're not like... they're not your run-of-the-mill challenges. They're kind of different and unusual, but they've all got checkers built and they've all been approved. So we're really confident about those. So there'll be 39 of those. And then we will also have if you like puzzles, a mystery grid that will fill your entire 81 grid of mysteries that we've
that's crazy. That's awesome.
And we've got 36 that are going to drop any day now. So give us a couple of weeks, we hope. We'll have the rest of them drop. So those you'll have plenty of time to solve them before you come, and that'll keep you busy. So
that's awesome.
And that sounds fun. We haven't let the public know about yet, but let's go ahead and drop it.
All right, let's go for it.
So we've got path tags that we're giving away to the first 35 that finish the challenge trail and to finish the 81 grid, which are really cute. One of them has glitter on it, so
neat.
I love glitter, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So we'll be giving away some path tags for those that finish in the entire thing and qualify. I got to qualify for all the challenges, and you got to solve all the puzzles and find them. So, and all the puzzles, pretty much. There's a couple of exceptions, but pretty much. Are at Sandy Creek Park. So it's one of the parks right outside of Jackson County and easy to get to. So
do you want to give people a little bit of a warning of what they may need to bring for this DT puzzle grid, like special tools or anything like that?
You actually don't need anything. I would say a really strong pair of hiking boots because you're going to do a lot of hiking. Because a lot of them are on some hiking trails on the other, or if you can bring a kayak and you can get across the lake a lot faster.
Well, I was going to say we have 3 that are actually on the water that you'll need a watercraft for.
Yes.
Although at Sandy Creek they do rent.
They rent paddle boards, kayaks. So you can rent one there.
And then we also have a handful. I think it's 5 or it must be 6. We have 6 that also will require some kind of reaching tool that you will not be able to get just on the ground.
Yeah.
So
so that'd always be good for somebody to bring ahead of time.
Yes, that's a great call. But yes, they will need those to get those T5s. But everything else you can get with a determined spirit.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to use my just now. We didn't get to use our special news bulletin one here, but it's too late now because we were
too late now. When
Sorry.
Derek's not here, we just don't produce well.
Okay.
Yeah.
But incredible, so many incredible things going on. Really, the whole week. It's really a true. It's got the it's a full-fledged mega because it's got all these extra things that are awesome.
It does.
We got the maze. I know that people want.
Yeah, and where it goes and challenges, you really can't beat that. So
where it goes challenges, yeah. We don't want to forget the maze because that's some people haven't.
Well, the maze, yeah. A lot of people have not done the maze yet.
Yeah,
that's me.
Yeah, and it's the first time it's ever been in Georgia, so we're really excited. We're really close to 600 Willetons. We're expecting a huge crowd in Jackson County, which is going to be super, super exciting. And there's going to be plenty to do. I don't know. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're also going to drop 50 adventure labs. So there'll be those to keep you busy as well.
Nice.
10 of them are going to be pretty tough. It'll be kind of an I Spy type thing. 30 of them will be pretty easy. So the other 10 will be kind of middle of the road. So.
GT Buzz is asking about the rest of the Geocache 81 puzzle is going to drop at the same time.
Actually, that's a great question because we've been dropping them either in groups of 9 or 18.
Right.
And we're going to drop the last 36 all at one time. And Bill, and hey, GT Buzz, we should be dropping those real soon. We got a lot on our plate, and as soon as we can take that off our plate, the happier we're all going to be.
Just to be clear, you said 15 adventure labs, not 50, right?
No, 50.
50.
50.
Wow. So is that?
50 stages, not 50 individual.
Okay.
Yeah.
50
so
stages.
50 individual little. I guess. This is getting confusing with the terminology nowadays, right? But
I know.
50 smileys. 50 smileys total. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You can add 50 to your geocaching total.
Exactly.
That's a lot.
I like actually wording it like that because it can be confusing because sometimes people are awarded 5, but sometimes people are awarded 10. So it's kind of and then megas get different numbers too. So
right.
I don't know what our final total was for Colby. Jesse, what we have?
Well, that wasn't all official mega stuff. That was
they weren't.
Kind of a grouping of individual people decided to do theirs around the mega. So that's.
But when you tell somebody,
but I don't know what the total number were.
Yeah, they're like 120. What are you talking about? It's like, well, wasn't quite that many. Whatever it was, we had a lot, but it was people.
Yeah.
Everybody donated, so
yeah.
Right.
And megas get extra, so it's kind of which is great. 50. That's awesome.
There's going to be a lot to keep you busy. That is for sure.
Needs a glossary. You're right. It does. Well, awesome. Well, yeah. Thanks so much.
I appreciate you having us on and reminding
absolutely.
everybody.
We're very excited for this. Geocache Talk is a sponsor, so
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Derek will be there from the network. So
yes, he's doing our videography for us,
yep.
and I hope he's hoping to do some live feeds. So be ready for that for everybody. So that's exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We're excited for this. I wish we could go to every mega, maybe one day.
I know.
Jesse and I can be professional mega goers.
That's right. There you go. That'd be perfect.
I think you should put that in your contract. You should talk to your boss.
Right.
You know what? We should.
Yeah.
I guess sort of in a sense, Jesse's my boss, so I could.
No, Jesse's not the boss. Okay, you know what? Go to every mega then. You're hired.
Done.
I think the CFO is our boss. So anyway, but again, thank you guys so much, and
We appreciate you having us on.
In the show notes, and we'll remind people about that. And if you want any more information, is there a best email that you guys prefer to get?
There is that you can do our. We have a website that's GA for Georgia, gpsmaze.com.
Okay.
So gagpsmaze.com is our website. So there's a lot of information on there. We're constantly updating it to add in Q&As that people might have. So that's a really good thing. And then
on that site also there's a contact us link with our email address for the group. The group, and I don't want to say it because I'm not 100% sure. It's something close to that, but it's on the page that you can get to that.
And we do have a lot of social media. So if you want to follow us on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever, we do not have a TikTok because we don't dance. But
is it that GPS Maze?
Yes,
that's it.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks again.
We appreciate you. And one day you'll be able to come to a mega event that we have.
Yes,
for sure.
One day we'll get to go get out again.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate you.
Thanks guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We both punched at the same time.
Yeah, I know. I'll let you produce. How about that? So we don't stumble all over each other.
That's all right.
So now more news. We still have more news tonight.
We do. We've got some more news. The regular
quick
news.
draw on the button. You got the news thing perfect.
I did. I had that one. So I have the winner. The T-Rex coin. So, and I'll be sending this to Ryan. I saw Ryan's in the chat room, but we do have a winner, lucky casher that got to win the random.org. We had the most, Ryan. I think I'm gonna say it's because of the coin, because I'm thinking that's what it was. But we had the most entries, most audio listener entries that we've ever had.
Because that coin is awesome.
It is incredible.
You know, that coin is cool enough that even if it wasn't a geocoin, it'd still be neat to have on your desk.
Oh yeah,
it's almost belt buckle size. It's kind of crazy.
I mean, if you and I think it's a cool coin, and we're not really coin people, can you imagine what the coin people are thinking? I mean, they must be going.
Plus, if you're into dinosaurs, how can you not like that thing?
How can you not? It's just awesome.
And wasn't every little kid secretly into dinosaurs? I mean, whether you admit it or not, because it's not cool.
Yeah, well, Jurassic Park was incredible when it came out. So, but that's for another show.
That's another show.
That's another show. But so again, we have the most entries. Thank you, audio listeners, hanging. We always try to bring you an entry as well, because we love our audio audience. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a weird way to put it, but that works.
That's okay.
Anyway, without further ado, the winner was L.A. Newell. She was the winner of the T-Rex coin. So
congratulations. That is a very cool coin. I'm a little bit jealous. Actually, I'm not, because I'm going to buy one anyway. So
I don't know if she's in the chat room or not, but I will get her the information, and we will get her information over to Ryan so he can send the coin over to her. So way to go.
Yeah.
LA, that was awesome. All right. Next bit of news was leaderboard. The new leaderboard challenge reached the peak.
Yeah, I'm excited to see they're using the leaderboard more.
Yeah. We haven't really spent any time really talking about this yet. We talked a little bit on Puzzle Talk, but it starts tomorrow. It'll run from August 2nd all the way through March 6th. That seems like a long time, doesn't it?
Well, yes, but so this is why I actually like this challenge. Not challenge. I mean, they call it a challenge, but this leaderboard a little more.
Yeah.
If you dig in, and everybody's probably heard about it now because it came out in the email, but if you dig into this one a little more, they're adding a different layer to it than they normally do. So I think they're playing with the leaderboard more. Yeah. Obviously, the points are a little different. It's like 600 points instead of like 6 points. Yeah. So they're playing with larger total points now. But if you look at it, and if you read through the instructions on this one, you have to get each stage each month.
Right.
So you can't go backwards. So if you don't start at the beginning, you can't get the final. So there's a final thing called Peak Performer, which is the final digital badge.
Yeah.
You can't get that unless you get the 2 stages each month. Now, obviously, I realize people can cheat and backdate stuff, but if you do it legitimately,
right,
there's a base camp and a summit for every single month, and you have to get both of those at different point levels to get that Peak Performer. And like, if you start 3 months in, you're not supposed to be able to go back and do it.
Right.
So if you're being honest, you have to do it every month. So what they're doing is they're making you do something each month instead of just like find 6,000 points at any time in the next year.
I like that. I like spreading it out, making it like that.
And they clearly explain, like, 600 points maximum, even though the different cache types count for something. And just a regular found it counts as 325 points. But the cool thing is they seem to be rotating through what they're focusing on. So this time it's multi-cache, mystery cache, earth cache, and adventure lab.
Correct.
Last time I think it was something different, virtuals or something like that. But I think I think they're playing with the leaderboard and testing it out behind the scenes with all these souvenir promotions. And we all know why we love that so much. We really want the leaderboard to advance and come out.
Yeah, and we were fortunate enough to be part of the initial leaderboard challenge that was done, and was able to sort of test some of that. So hopefully, what some of the things they learned from us has helped. I mean, there have been others that were done as well. I know there was one that was done up in Long Island as well. So all the ones that have been done, I think they've learned a lot from the leaderboard as time's gone on. Those are the current score, or for the first month. Those are the points that you can get for.
Vince in the chat room said that Cachely 7.0 was about to come out. Yep. And he is correct. It's about to come out, and Nick will be on our show soon to talk about all the features of that. Obviously, anytime he has a release, we're going to bring him on as soon as he can get on to talk about that.
Yes, he will be on. He'll be on soon. We got him scheduled.
It's no secret how much we love Cachely.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. So, all right. Book club.
Yeah, just one thing real quick for the book club. The information has already gone out for all the patrons. For anybody that doesn't know, for all of our patrons, we meet once a month. We have a book club on geocaching adjacent style books. A lot of times it's adventure. There's not enough geocaching books out there, so we can't always do geocaching books, but we do, hiking and exploring and books like that. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. But for all the patrons, instead of doing the list here, we did a big poll. We had 1,000 entries in it. No, we didn't. But I'm just going to say we did. And we selected our books for the rest of the year, so everybody can get ahead, kind of know what they're doing as we go into the fall time. It gets busy for everybody, but check your email, and those books have already been set up for August through December. Obviously, we can call a change, but for the book club people, we have some selections based on your votes, and awesome. Check your patron email.
Very awesome. All right. Well, we've covered a lot, but we need to cover the topics. So,
well, that's the new news. Let's talk about some old stuff.
Let's talk about some stuff that's not even out there anymore.
That's right. It doesn't even exist. It's history.
The world of the archive. So, again, Andy, thank you so much for being on tonight.
You're welcome.
Appreciate your being willing to come on here and talk about some of the ones. What's funny is we were talking before, to get this set up. I said, Andy, I think it'd be great for you to come on and talk about it. And he goes, I haven't really found that many. I found like 10. I was like, 10? That's incredible. I was like, let's talk. So again, thanks so much. We kind of, I think Jesse has a story. Andy's got several stories we're going to go through. What's funny about this is it kind of sort of how this came about was we were talking about the Project Ape caches that are all gone, and we've really encouraged people to go hunt for these old Project Ape, giant cans that maybe be out there. I don't think they are, but
they could be, though.
They could be.
And what a cool story that would be.
Yeah, so we talked about that. And so when this came around, and I saw where Andy had done several archived, I thought, man, that's exactly what we wanted. I wanted somebody who's actually gone out and done a couple. And then when he told me he'd done 10 of them, I was like, yes, he's the archive hunter. kind of like the crocodile hunter or whatever is the.
It's definitely an interesting part of the game.
Yeah, so we've got some photos, we've got some different things to show tonight, and we're gonna get stories from Andy. So before we do some of those, though, we're gonna step back and look at the one that Jesse did, and then we'll jump into Andy's.
Okay.
So Jesse can kind of tell his story about the one in Hawaii.
Yeah, so and I pulled up a couple of pictures too. Obviously, for the audio listeners, you won't be able to see these photos. You have to jump online to see them. But for everybody who's live or watching the show on video, short version of the story, because a few people have heard it before. I was in Hawaii. We were on family vacation. We did an event because that's what we do when we travel. And first of all, if we have any people from Hawaii listening, y'all are all awesome cachers. Everybody there was so friendly. It was ridiculous. But I could talk about that all night long. There was one cacher there. His cacher name is Mental Bill. And he goes, at some point in the event, he goes, hey, you want to go look for an archive cache? And I'd kind of heard of that process before, but I'd never really gone after one and not really done much with it before. And I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. And then he said, he kind of gave me the description. If you can see from these pictures here, we got the cache container, the old rusty ammo can, full log was still in it. We had to climb down kind of in a ravine.
Crazy.
And it was some pretty dense vegetation. So he said, just to let you know, I've got to swing by my house and get some tools. Or he swung by his house to get some tools.
Right.
Like, what are we getting into here? He was getting a saw. I was like, this is a different kind of caching. What are we doing here? So basically, he told me the story that this cache had gone missing. He had been doing some research, and he likes to do this. This is one of the things he does in Hawaii because he's basically found all the caches.
Yeah.
So there's not that many for him to find per island. So he goes and looks after, because there's a lot of holiday caches. Let me put the quotes up here. Holiday caches where people will be like, yeah, my buddy in town is going to maintain this cache. And they never do, right? So he had contacted the property owner where this was and done some scouting. And from information he had gathered, he had done all the research ahead of time.
Right.
He found out that this one had a tree had basically grown up around it. And by tree, it's really a big vine that's like an invasive species. Right. In that area. So the property owner was like, yes, please, if you can come and cut that thing out, do whatever you can do to get it out of here, destroy that vine, whatever you need to do. So he basically had permission to go in and do some demolition to get this cache out of there. And sure enough, that's what we did. We went down this ravine, found it. It was I'm calling it a tree. I'm not an arborist, so somebody can attack me later on that, but it was this vine type tree that had basically grown up and the ammo can was part of this tree now. So he had to have a sawzall, and he cut, like a reciprocating saw, and had to cut it out. We get it out, and it's full ammo can, still got some stuff in it, pins. The the original log was in there and everything. Now, it was rusted up because it was inside a tree, right? But you could put this ammo can, clean it up, you could put the ammo can out again. But it was very cool, and the thing had been archived for quite a while. But that was my first real experience with a whole group, and there was a whole group of us going after this cache. It was out in the woods, and it was neat. And I tell that story just to preface what we're talking about tonight because Andy's nice and Gary's nice, but I'm not as nice. So I will say this is a different part of the game. Yep. If you don't like this, we're talking about it because it's fun and you can go out and do it. If you don't like this, don't do it. Yes. Don't whine about it. Just don't do it. Everybody likes different parts of the game, and we're going to talk about that because it's fun tonight. And If you have any complaints, send them to complaint@gmail.com and they'll answer them for you.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is a really fun part of the game, and everybody's looking for something new to do, and that's what we're talking about tonight. Play the game how you want, but don't complain about other people playing it a different way. That's just my little preface that I wanted to say from my story tonight, and then we'll get into the fun stuff about it.
Yeah, no matter what anybody thinks of it, I don't think anybody is going to be.
So, and Vince asked, did I log it? I absolutely logged it.
Well, sure you
did. I found it. I logged it. I signed the logbook. So, yes, right. I did.
I love the
people don't like it.
Factor of that one. That's a great story.
Yeah, incredible. But I don't think anybody is going to be opposed to the fact that you went and got something and took it out. And it's like, it's referred to, I think, as geotrash sometimes.
Come on now. Somebody is going to be opposed to it.
Yeah, I get
There'll be one person that doesn't want to catch that way or whatever. But I think in general, most people are excited about what we're going to talk about tonight, Andy, and it's going to be good to hear your stories and kind of how to do it because it's fun. This is a fun game. So
now I'm curious. What'd you do with the ammo can then?
So I believe the plan was, so I didn't keep the ammo can. Obviously, I didn't take it home from Hawaii. Mental Bill, the cacher down there, really cool guy, which, by the way, just to talk about how cool they are, he drove me around the whole island to caches he had already found. Yeah, he was. And it was an awesome day, right? But didn't know me from anybody. He was just a cacher, and I'm a cacher, and he drove me around everywhere. Cool guy. Anyway, he talked to everybody else there, and everybody was like, yeah, he can take it or whatever. The owner was gone and, hadn't been in the game in years. So he intended to clean it up and put it out as a brand new cache.
That's awesome.
But leave some of the original markings on it and make mention that it was an old cache that was now revived as a new cache. I need to email him and find out, or if he's listening, hey Bill, if you're listening, let us know. But see whatever he did with it.
Incredible. Yeah, that's awesome. Maybe I don't know, Andy, which one you want to start with? Do you want to start with the ammo can you found? Is that a good place to start, or?
Sure. Yeah, that's my most recent find. It had been 11 years since someone had logged this ammo can that I had found, and I believe it was 8 years since it was archived. So it was archived, and it was originally it was published in March 24th, 2005, and it was found by about 39 people, and then it was archived in April of 2013, and then I found it this June.
Wow, it looks like it's in great shape.
Oh, it was perfectly dry. It didn't even smell inside. I mean, you know how ammo cans can be, and it was almost buried in its location, and it was just sort of against the base of a tree with an unnatural pile of sticks there, but the pine needles had accumulated around it, and you could just barely see the top of the geocache out of there. And it's interesting. It's a very exciting puzzle cache too.
Yes.
And it's in a deep wood section of a large public park, and it's near the boundary of the park. I mean, the person who hid this, his name, I'm probably gonna mispronounce it, Theragleb, one of the older geocachers here in Vermont. Very great geocacher, and he hid this right at the edge of the park boundaries. He knew where the boundary line was, and he didn't go over the end of the edge of the park. It's funny because since then, somebody has built a small little one-room cabin that is right on the other side of the line there. So it used to be when he hid that, there was nothing out there. Now there's this little cabin. So when I was there, I was like, well, if anyone's home, they're going to have a nice view of me walking in circles and poking around, and So
how did you come up with the idea to go after this cache?
I don't know. I felt like, doing something that could have been hopeless. I mean, you have those days when you're geocaching, those are the must cache days where you want to find a cache. You really have to. You're on a mission. And then you have other days where it's like, what do I have to lose? I didn't find,
Yeah.
But with archived, you can't log a did not find. It would sort of look stupid if you did. Archive cache, I couldn't find it. So you just sort of, take that defeat personally instead of sharing your story publicly about that. But it was a beautiful day, and I just felt like I was up for the hike and up for something fun. And I found this, and I had no idea the reaction that I would get, being invited on your show.
Yeah.
I started asking the local cachers, what should I do? Because I signed this thing, I logged it, and I put it back. And so I wanted to put a poll out there and see what people would, what they think I should do with it. And it seems like they want a redux hide. So, yeah, I tried contacting the original owner of this cache, and they don't play anymore, and they haven't answered their email in a while. So I guess that is, unofficially going to be the green light if we want to do it. My awesome. Son's sort of excited to own this one. So if we're going to publish it, it's going to be under my son's Geo name then, and we'll put that out there. And the people who found this, some of the people who found it before can find it all again. It'll be pretty interesting to see who does the first to find on something that they've already solved years ago.
Well, and what better than to what better way to refresh the game board than to find an archive cache that was assumed to be gone, and now you're giving it as a brand new life. It gets another smiley. It gets another group of people finding it. Assuming you can still hide in the same spot or even somewhere close by. Exactly. That's a great way to breathe some life back into that cache.
Yeah, I mean it's got the closest cache to it is it's another ammo can that's actually mine, and so I intentionally hid mine far enough away so I have enough space that this could be published there. It's interesting that you have that option as a redux. You also have the option like you have of recycling the container. And then with most of the ones I've actually signed them and photographed them and put them back, and that's also an option you can do if somebody wants to look at my list of archived finds and see if they can go find it. Then that's an option too. Did it have the original log? Yeah, it did. And that's the thing is when we do the Redux hide, we're going to keep the original log in there and add another log.
I like it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is perfect. Andy is frozen up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm asking the chat room now who has found an archive cache. I bet several have.
And you can see his first. Yeah, it's a good question.
Hopefully, we'll get Andy back here in a second. He's locked up now. But have you found an archive cache, Gary? Intentionally? No, I don't mean by accident.
I found them by accident, so that's not really.
I've come across some by accident before too.
Yeah.
There we go. We got Andy back.
So I didn't know what happened there. Maybe my Wi-Fi
locked you up for a minute. Yeah, so that's wow. Somebody says they found 70 archived. Is that wow?
Nice.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's something. That's awesome.
Yeah, Geocacher Ken says a dozen. So people have found a bunch, which is great.
Great. Oh yeah, you asked the question. So yeah. So let's sort of step back. What do you remember what it was like going after the well, let me ask you this. Did you find one by mistake and then decide you wanted to try to go hunt some purposefully? Or did you just start off with, I wonder if that cache is still out there?
Actually, both. I had one, the first one I logged was one that I had on a list. I had saved it into my files with CGeo and was wanting to go after this cache, and I didn't refresh it, and I didn't realize that it had been archived in the meantime. And I sort of grumbled to a geocaching friend about that I wanted to go for this cache, and it was archived, and he told me that you can still log archived caches. So I decided to go after that one anyways. That was one that was in a hollow tree, and somebody put a needs maintenance on it because they couldn't reach it inside the tree because the the tree had started growing the hole closed, and the hole is getting smaller. And so I went out there with my my tools. I had a full tool bag, and I had the right needle nose long pliers to get this film can out of this hole that it could just barely fit out of, and log that. So I did that, and then the accidental one was a day when I was out and I was logging a benchmark nearby, and as I was walking back to where I'd parked, the closest place to park was near a guardrail, and I just happened to go, well, what the heck, and look in the guardrails, see if anything's there, and there was a cache there, and I was like, oh, cool, I solved a mystery, I guess, or a multi or something, and I opened it up, and the name of the cache was in there, and I went online and found out that wasn't archived.
Wow.
So I logged that too.
That's incredible. Yeah, that is awesome. Phil's saying there's on Project GC, there's an stat for archive caches. That's really cool.
I was just typing to him, tell Phil to go ahead and put some, or if anybody knows how to get to that, let us know. That'd be great to add here. We'll add that in the show notes.
Yeah, if you can add that, we'll throw it in the show notes for sure. Yeah, that is
as you know, Project GC is so helpful on so many things.
Yeah, it is really cool.
You can definitely go down the rabbit hole of Project GC. So we'll go down there later. Let's.
Yeah, we'll do that another time. But incredible. So, from there, you continue geocaching. Then was there a point when you decided that periodically I'm just going to sort of scan for things that have archived, or do you kind of keep an eye on your area? Because I know I get notifications, I'm sure you do too, for the area. It's like, oh, that cache was archived. Oh, all right. Well, I make a note and move on. But
yeah, I mean, you can always go for recently archived ones. But my preferred method is that one that I found in the guardrail.
Right.
I looked at that, and the geocacher for that one had a conversation with a guy he knows who is a police officer. And in the process of their conversation, he was mentioning how he was hiding, geocaches in guardrails, and near they're within 20 feet of the side of the road and pine trees and things.
Right.
And apparently, this police officer told him that if he didn't get written permission for each of these hides, and they were illegal.
Right.
So the guy, he had hundreds of hides out there too, and he got very, very disheartened. And he went through a phase where he just started archiving a bunch of his hides for that. And he archived a whole series that he was making, a pretty ambitious series called Time Flies, where he was hiding a geocache that was supposed to, be for each day of the year.
Oh my.
Yeah, like May 25th, there's a cache for that. So he started archiving these, and I went after one of his that is on a road it's actually not too far away from me here, and it's a road that's a dirt road about half a mile before it becomes a class 4 not maintained road.
Right.
And it's hanging in a pine tree, but you park your car and there's nothing but small pine trees everywhere, a wall of them, and they're so thick that you can't even walk through them.
Oh wow.
And I sort of like scramble up the embankment there, and I had my two kids with me as other eyes to help.
Yeah.
And we sort of stumble down the other side and find out that this embankment is actually a foundation, for a colonial era, building. It's only about 10 feet by 12 feet, and it's still filled with pine trees inside this foundation. It doesn't look like anyone's poked around it in a long time.
Right.
And so we're sort of circling in there, hoping that nobody drives by because my car is completely blocking the road. And there are a couple houses up there. And it'd be sort of hard-pressed to say, if someone stopped and said, "Are you okay? What are you doing?" It'd be hard to come up with some sort of excuse for what you're doing, I mean, you can't even say it's a pit stop because there's nothing else down the road other than these people's houses. So, what are you doing here? Well, I ended up finding it. It was hanging in the tree.
Right.
And this one, he had hidden this geocache, and it went for a year before it's first defined.
A year.
Yeah, and then he had that conversation with this police officer, and he archived it, and it went by another 3 years before I found it, and that made me the second to find, and it's an archived cache, and the second to find 4 years later after publication.
Now, which one was that?
We need a new stat. First to find after archive. That's got to be a new stat.
Yeah, really.
First to find after archived.
First to find, yeah, FTF, right?
That's one of the Time Flies series.
Is it part of the Time Flies?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember which day it is right now.
It only had 2 finds, is that right?
Well, yeah, but my kids are geocachers too, so they logged the archive find with me too.
Well, sure.
So,
why not?
There you go.
Now it's 4.
So you've mentioned traditional and puzzle. Would you hunt an archived cache of any type?
Well, you can hunt, multis and traditionals and puzzles, but you can't do webcams. They're locked. They're off limits. Locationless caches are off limits too, and I think virtuals are also.
Do they normally lock a virtual once it's archived?
I believe so. I haven't checked on that specifically, but
I know
that they locked the webcams because I checked just for the heck of it. They locked. They archived Vermont's only webcam when the webcam went down for like a month.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And I wrote this long letter to them. Please, reinstate this. It's still there. It's our only webcam in the entire state, and they didn't answer that and kept it kept it locked. So I did check on that one.
Yeah,
those are disappearing quickly.
That does suck, but Owen was mentioned. Several people have mentioned in the chat room about how they've logged a couple archived virtuals, but HQ goes through and locks those probably for the most part, like he said.
They probably do, because most of the time, if you're archiving a virtual, it's going to be because the information's not there anymore. You can't get there or something.
Or maybe the permission to go there is gone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's
permission.
Now
that must be a different game. I'm not familiar with that.
Permission, yeah. Yeah, that was it could be dangerous if you find one that you want to go for that's that's archived, but it's on like private property that you're not supposed to be on. It's like, what if I go grab
it can get you jammed up? So we will say that if you're going caching and you're trying to do something that's off the rails like this,
you're on your own.
That you're on your own risk at that point, right? It may now be private property. You may want to do some extra research before you go out and do anything like this, because it's not really backed anymore.
Yeah, you assume all risk for that one. But that's crazy. But I think we've all probably found the missing cache, which is a different deal, or we find a throwdown, and we kind of I know Jesse and I'm sure Andy you do too, as far as like you find one, you're like, I don't think this is the right container, so you're like, right, I wonder if the original is still here. So you do some hunting, and sure enough,
you find 2.
Yeah, you'll find 2.
I found 3 at one site before. That's the most I've ever found at one site.
Now the funny thing is, the little game that Jesse and I and his family love to do is if he finds one, is try to take a photo of the throwdown and the original, and sometimes they're so close together they're almost like touching each other. So that's bad. But anyway, back to archives. So the other than, like you said, you found the some
of those pictures here. If you want to we can bring those up. If you want to tell us which ones these are.
Let's look at one of those, and maybe you can tell us if you remember about that one.
That's it's one called Geocaching Makes Me Smile, and it's amazingly dry inside. It's got some swag in it, and that's a guardrail. And the cacher took a little break from geocaching for a little while. I think he's back in the game now, and sort of felt that this series had gone its run.
It's got a lot of finds, though. I mean, it really did have a lot of. I'm putting in the chat room the GC code for it, but
he made a power trail right down one of the main roads here. So
right, GC.
He did the Makes Me Smile series was each one starts with a letter of the alphabet. So
right,
you get 26 of them. So people love that. This was one that the parking was pretty bad for this one. I mean, you could park, not quite a quarter mile away at an intersection and just take up, part of the corner of the intersection, or just sort of have your car half on the road when people are trying to go, speed limit of 50 past it. So they're driving much faster than 50. So It's a little iffy, either way. But, we'll do anything for a smiley,
Yeah. So GC 2104B as in bison. Although it's not bison tube, but and then this one,
that one's a bag. Terrible. So I'm doing my best to smile. I don't know if you could see just how rotten that log and baggie is. And I mean, they did an interesting hide. They hid this, and it was sort of in a metal can. But this is in a foundation of a more modern building, and it's sort of a garbage-strewn area of the woods. So you have broken glass and metal around there too. So when you talk about going after archive finds being your own risk, this is a good example of it. I was glad I carry hand sanitizer in my car yet. So as soon as I got back to the car, I was practically bathing in it. But
do you remember the name of this one?
Oh,
the Nature Pond or the?
Give me a second here. That's Skeeter's.
Skeeter's number 3. Okay.
I think that's Skeeter's number 3. Let me just double check that.
Yep, that's it.
Yep, that's it.
So what did you do with that one? That one's a pretty nasty cache. Did you leave it there? Did you take it with you?
Well, I know people don't like geotrash, and I know this is getting into part of the controversy we talked about, but I did leave it there. It's not really worth having as a geocache container. It's pretty compromised, but the area would need a massive cleanup just to get rid of all the trash already.
Right.
So it doesn't really add that much to the destruction there. And if somebody wants to log a really stinky lock and lock, there it is,
Did you, do you typically when you found these, because I know you found several of them, do you try to contact the owner to see if they're still in the game at all, or what do you do with that?
No, I don't, other than the one that we want to do the Redux on. I've been curious to see if any of them will contact me, like, hey, I noticed that you logged a find on my archived cache, and I'm sort of waiting for someone to say I'm going to delete that because, this is archived, and if they decide to do that, I guess that's their prerogative. I'll take that, but
yeah, you still had fun. It doesn't matter. One smiley, 1 point difference. If that, if you count as points or whatever, you'll probably be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's just a different way to play the game. Like we said, it's a mystery. I mean, this game, a geocaching friend of mine called it a game of secrets. When you're a muggle, you don't realize that there's geocaches hidden all around you. And then you become a geocacher, and then you sort of, you want to solve the mysteries and the multis to find the ones that you can't see where the final is. And then you have ones like this where, they're not published anymore. So they were part of the game. So they're sort of a secret part of that too, you know? And I had the weirdest one I had, since I had success sticking my hand in a guardrail and not getting stung by hornets or bit by spiders, I've stuck my hand in a few more guardrails. So, intermittent reward, keeps your behavior going. And
exactly.
My kids were nearby where I live in the village, and they were looking at the creek. They're going to go and jump in the creek and look around.
Right.
And so I hang out on the road and I stick my hand in the guardrail and there's a geocache. And I know there's no geocaches published here. So again, I'm like, oh great, I found a mystery. Let's see what I solved. And this one was also labeled and it had never been found. And as a matter of fact, it had never been published.
Oh yeah, this one is fascinating. Let me bring up the page because I think that's.
Is that one of the pictures you have, or
no? I'll share the screen on this one. It's called the Depot. That one, right, Andy?
No, this isn't in my archive.
Oh, okay, not your archive. Okay, because this was
an unpublished cache you're talking about.
No, because this one was never published, and I know the couple who are is the geocaching couple who called DJ and Cal. They had hidden this, and they basically forgot about it because they've hidden 600 to 700 geocaches, and so they sort of forgot they even hid this. Mm-hmm. So they're not really actively playing the game very often now. So I talked to them about this, and they were delighted on that, and I got their permission to make it a hide. And this is a term called poaching. If you find a geocache before it's been published, that's poaching. And apparently I was made aware of in Vermont there's a rule that if you poach a geocache, then you have to make a song about the geocache. And so I'd written one and published that in the local area then.
That's awesome.
Got a chance to be that, publish that anyway.
That's incredible. Yeah. That's
pretty cool. Finding an archive cache is one thing. Finding one before it can be published, that's a whole different level.
Yeah. The GC number of this one is GC92RGH.
Okay.
This is Vermont Orange.
Gotcha. Let me pull that one up. Yeah, that's fascinating.
I've got the song. If you.
Yeah, let's hear the song.
Okay.
Oh gosh, it's crazy.
It's to the tune of "O Little Town of Bethlehem."
Okay.
O little town of East Orange, don't blink, you'll pass it by. There are 10 houses in this town, and that is not a lie. Once on a crisp fall Sunday, I had to get outside. I went out with my son and dog and found this dusty hide. I told DJ and Cal of this to see what they would say. They said, congrats and go ahead. Please keep this one in play.
Wow. That's a hard rule that you have to make a song every time you do it. That's dedication.
That is dedication.
Yeah, it's even harder to poach one.
So you're an archive and a poacher. So there's the
only poach one.
Only poach the one.
Hey, that's not even poaching this. I mean, it's nothing wrong with it. They never put it out. You contacted them. It's okay. It's not like you stole it and moved it or something.
Yeah, exactly. No. Or you like jumped over top of their. I mean, they completely forgot about it. So,
yeah, they forgot about it. They had actually been like that for years. So yeah. Now it's in play. It's being found. So
I know many of us have found them by accident before. And I've pulled into parking lots before, and if I just happen to park next to a lamppost and it has a little Munzie sticker on it, I go ahead and lift it just to check, because you never know. There's almost always one there, and I found a couple of them. I guess I can't say by accident because it's you expect to see them in there, but didn't even know it was there, and I was like, sweet, and then you look it up and log it, and you're great. Sometimes it's a puzzle, but most of the time it's just a traditional, a little LBC. But I'll take it. That's a free smiley I didn't have to work for. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the one that Susan and I found. Is we parked in this parking lot that we normally would never park in, but it was crowded. It was, and Susan says, "Well, check the lamppost. You're right there." I was like, "Okay, we'll raise it. Look, there's a cache here."
That's great.
So, and it was archived, so we're like, "Well, we don't even know where to. I mean, it's like where do you and where would you even start? So we kind of went through and started searching for caches that used to be there, which is a little tricky. But
well, that's a good point to talk about too. Is how would you go about?
Yeah, how
Andy may have some tips on this, and I have a way that I would do it. And Gary, obviously, you have a way you do it too. But this is good. This is good information for people.
Yeah, as I'll say real quick what I did.
Okay,
is I took a picture of the logbook, signed it, of course. Took a picture of the logbook, and then I started looking at who had found it.
Mm-hmm.
So I started going back through and extrapolating. Oh, okay. Well, these people found it, and I can go pull up their cache page, and I can look and see where and that's how I kind of reverse engineered it. Is there a way that y'all would do it differently, or?
That's pretty much what I would do. And are some resources to find out caches that multiple people have found, right? Because you can sort if you're making a list of.
Oh, true.
Map compare, which you can do. You can use that for a lot for archive caches. You can use it for this too, but you do a map compare of that area, and you can probably come across something.
Yeah, that's good.
Or just go into the logs. I've done that before too. Check the logs, and especially if somebody dates it, which I never date my signature, but if somebody dates it, then you can check that name on that date and see what cache that was.
Yeah.
And see if then the names match up in that log after that.
Right. I usually take a picture of the log of the archived cache when I find it, because that way if the owner, so I'm not so sure if they really found it. Well, there I am holding the log, and you can see the last 4 or 5 signatures on there and the dates, and it should match up to the, to the find. So then it's proof that you found that cache.
At least some of the signatures match up, but that's for another show.
That's for another
show. We won't get into that one.
Yeah. You should sign every log and not just sort of say you were there. But I think I know Vince mentioned about finding original letterbox or I guess true letterboxes. I've told that story about how I hid the cache and where I thought was a great spot. It was a great spot because somebody letterboxed a letterbox there. I was like, oh dang it, somebody beat me to the punch. I mean, and my thinking, of course, was originally was, oh well, somebody hasn't like you found, Andy. It's like somebody's gonna eventually publish this cache, and sure enough, when I started looking, no, it's active, but it's a letterbox, which again, that's definitely for another show because I don't know. I mean, that thing, I don't know. Who knows how long it's been. So I didn't look at the log. I probably should have to see what the last letterbox. I don't know if people letterbox, I wonder if they actually put a date. Most cachers put a date. I mean, that's.
Well, caching letterbox or the other letterbox with the stamp?
No, the true letterbox, not geocaching.
So the stamp letterbox? Yeah.
The stamp ones. But I'm wondering if people who do just letterboxing, when they put their stamp, I don't think they probably, I don't know if they put a date or not on their letterbox find.
I guess you could do either way.
Yeah.
As long as you stamp it, that's there for letterbox, right? Not hybrid,
right.
But okay. So Andy, here's the big question. I think we've got everybody excited about this part of the game. Let's kind of go the opposite direction. If let's say I'm now excited and I want to go find one in my area, how would I go about even starting to figure out where an archive cache is and maybe good to go for and what would make it good to go for?
Well, like what I do is, look for hiders who are prolific or have been prolific. And if you want to look at their profile and see what they've hidden, you'll see some that are archived, and then you can open up those archived caches and look at the logs and see if they're, why they were archived. Sometimes they're archived, just, a simple needs maintenance goes unanswered and then it gets archived. And maybe this player is not so active anymore, so they didn't go back and retrieve it. So it could still be there. You're never sure if it's going to be there, or not. So, it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
You can also, like Gary said, you can pay attention to, the game board around you, as you're making your wish list. If there's something on your wish list and it suddenly becomes archived, you can be like, well, maybe I'll check it out and see about that. Then you get a recently archived one,
Yeah. I like, though, the true, I mean, they're all really cool, but the ones that you were saying are kind of, to me, the true adventure ones are the one like you'd found, which was years later.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really amazing. I mean, the other ones are amazing to me as well, but the one you talked about, the ammo can, right? Had been out there forever.
Yeah.
I mean, that is cool. I mean, that to me,
I couldn't expect it, It's definitely one of those moments when you lay eyes on it and you hear like the angelic chorus behind you. Oh, wow.
That's even more exciting than finding a regular one.
The mosquitoes behind me.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah. So like the one
Happy Hodag. Notification set up for 10 miles from my home coordinates so I can find out when caches are archived.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's kind of like a reverse FTF game. See if you can race. Who can race out there first to see after it's archived, right? If the owner has come picked it up yet.
The first archived,
right? Yeah. Have you found any that were locked that you weren't able to log? And you're like, dang it, I found this cache and it was locked.
No.
Okay, you've been lucky.
Like a padlock?
No. I mean, like when you go to log, because sometimes you'll find
locked online.
Yeah. Some site, most of them don't get locked. I mean, obviously the real famous ones, like if you were to happen to find one of the ape caches, you're not going to log it, or you could wish you'd log it. But if you go look, all those ape caches, all those pages are locked.
Mm-hmm.
So
because they're special and people are going to play games with it.
I didn't know if you'd found any that somebody had happened to lock it for some.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if regular, traditionals and multis and things get locked, you
could probably ask.
They can if there's enough issue around them, they can get locked, and you can request them to be locked as well.
You can, yeah.
Oh, okay, you can.
Yeah, I like Owen's comment. It's a free container hunt.
Yeah, recycle.
That's right.
Now, what would be really interesting, and I don't know if you've done this or not, but if you came across trackable in one of these archived caches.
That would be cool. That would definitely be cool.
That owner would probably be very, very excited to find out that their trackable had been found after 11 years in a cache that's been archived for like 8 years or something.
Yeah, that's always fascinating. Also, is just to see when a trackable is sort of found in the wild, as it were, and it was placed, in the wrong, or nobody logged it. I mean, which is sad that I saw a note today that somebody had posted a note about Midwest Geocache. They're like, we still have path tags listed in Midwest Geocache. And I wanted to comment. And it's like, really? Why don't you go look at every other mega that's ever been done?
Yeah, those are gone.
What's funny is Mingo Madness has probably the fewest of late of the more recent megas. They all have them in there, but there's a few in there. But yeah, to find an archived cache, but also to find something in it that something like that would kind of be extra cool to see.
Here's my theory on why that happens to megas.
Okay.
Because people that have lost trackables just dump them in megas without ever even going to the mega. Or if they go there, they never really had them. They just log them all into that mega knowing that they've been gone for years.
You think that's what it is? It could be.
That's one theory. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, people obviously take them and then don't know what they're doing and they never do anything with them. But I think people just use megas as a dumping place, and those trackables were never there on site.
Right. Except for
because there's nothing you can do about it.
Tom did drop off his bowling ball and bowling pin. Madness. They're now in somebody else's hands, but
Oddly enough, as we've learned, you can also drop trackables in virtuals.
Yes, you can.
That's a weird thing that they allow to happen in the game, but you can do it.
And I've had some of mine poached from me, Jesse.
Hey, if you don't lock them, they're available to be stolen. That's what we need to do is a whole show. We'll do it for another show on trackable shenanigans.
That's
trackable shenanigans.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have one. Someone who
there. Go ahead, Andy.
One of my trackables was logged in event in Massachusetts, and this person said it was their first geocache. They had made no finds, and they had only logged my trackable. And yeah. And I wrote them, said, congratulations, this isn't a geocache, this is a trackable, so you get to take it to another geocache and drop it off. Please do that. And nope, never saw it again.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So Burnt Turtles asked, and I know we kind of covered it earlier, but do you take the archive cache you find? And you said on that one you did, your son's going to rehide that one, right? But
yeah, well, it's there. We're going to do a redux on it. Usually I don't, and there's all sorts of different rules of thought on this, I mean, it's geotrash if you leave it there. It's a free container you can recycle. Someone else can find it if you leave it there. So there's all different ways you can look at this. There's no one way to play this part.
There's not an easy answer on this one. And I think, it's would you log? So when you log that one, did you say it's there and still in place and kind of open for people to find, or did you just say I found it and not make much of a deal in your log about it?
I don't really mention it in the log, but I think I would if I were to take the container and rehide it somewhere else,
Yeah. I would suspect, I don't know, and somebody in the chat room may know, but I would suspect if we got into the lists, the bookmark lists, there's at least one or two lists out there of archive caches that are still in place.
Oh,
I'm just guessing because I've heard about that before. But
yeah, well, we've got in the show notes too Andy's finds, caches he'd found after they were archived. Which you talking about that kind of list, or?
Yeah, I'm talking about a list of a lot of people have kind of added to this list over time.
Oh,
but it's archive caches that are still out there, and you can go find them.
Yeah,
I don't know where that list is now. I just heard about it years ago. So.
Oh right. Oh, like a real big list. I mean, not just your personal.
Yeah, like a public bookmark list.
Right, public bookmark. I got you. Yeah, that'd be interesting. One thing if I can comment on that is that, one thing about what you're saying, Andy, also is that these are caches that a cache owner has either placed or has failed to pick up. Mm-hmm. So I guess, a very valid argument is that's not your responsibility. I mean, that's not, you're not the cache police. So if somebody were ever to say, oh, well, he should never leave that there. Well, that's not for him to to decide. I mean, I like what you've done in the fact that you contact the cache owners and try to determine what to do with it. But putting it back, in my opinion, is valid.
I'd say it's just as valid as taking it.
It is. You're right. I agree.
Just as valid, right? There's no answers to this. There's no rules of what to do with it.
No.
Unless there is somewhere, somebody let us know. We'll go over the rules. But I think, Andy, your version of leaving it in place or taking it, I think that's perfectly valid either way.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows. There's no answer to this. It's abandoned property, essentially. They're not playing the game properly anymore. They're not going to get it like they're supposed to.
Right.
The rules do say you're supposed to go get it if you archive it. So.
Yeah, I think either way, in my opinion, again, is valid. Ryan says he's got a cache police badge. So.
Hey, I've been to the town of Cache and in Oklahoma, and they have cache police there. I've got a picture with a squad car.
In Cache, Oklahoma. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Caching Dead mentions this, it is geolitter, which is true, but yet I think I would remove it but again, I can see it either way. I can see both answers being valid.
Yeah, there's no one answer to that.
No, there isn't.
No.
But the archived cache museum.
Nice.
That'd be a big one.
That's kind of funny. Okay. Well, anything else that we would like to cover in this topic?
I'd like to add to what Andy said about finding. I've done that too. I've checked local cachers. The other way that I go about it, I think Andy is familiar with this way too, is Project GC. If you use their map compare feature, you can just select archived and say for the county, your county, it'll give you a big list of everything in the county that you haven't found.
Okay.
And it'll highlight all the ones that are archived.
That's cool.
So you can go through there and just make a list, the little boxes or whatever beside it. You can just click all those and make your own bookmark list from that. And you have a bookmark list of all the archived caches in your county that you haven't found. And you can then do Andy's, what Andy was saying. Go in there and check and look at the last logs. Look at the owner, see if they're still active,
Right.
Start hunting down and going through your criteria. But there's a bunch of ways to kind of look for these. And I'd like to hear some stories of people, email us, geocachetalk@gmail.com, whether you found them before or after this episode. And, if you use Andy's tips and tricks too, let us know after you've gone and found some, and maybe start putting them on a bookmark list. If you leave them in place, put it on a public list somewhere. So, maybe you have to be sneaky or something. This is the sneaky part of the sneaky game. But, somehow share that list with people. That could be a fun, little subculture of the game.
Sure.
It'd be interesting to see, how many people can log a geocache after it's been archived. I mean, what if it gets logged for years and years to come after that?
Right.
It could. Here's what my guess is.
Legitimately, you mean?
If it starts happening a lot, HQ's stance would be pick up that litter or republish it.
Yeah.
Then they'll probably
That's my guess.
after they keep getting logged.
Yeah. If you draw too much attention to something like that, they're going to say either republish it or... And maybe that's what you do after 2 or 3 people have found it. Then you republish it, and make it a brand new cache. And then you get to find it again. You get to find it 3 times. So,
yeah, there you go. Perfect. All right. So, Andy, we're going to let you have the last word on archive. What are your final thoughts? I love that. Hit that like button before this. They're not going to archive our podcast. Let's hope not.
They could. We don't know. Hit the like button anyway.
Rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're up for a new challenge, try it. Why not? I mean, It won't add to your DNFs because you can't really log DNFs on them, so you can only log some fines.
Perfect. Exactly. Yeah, that's awesome.
So if you take it after it's archived and you've logged it, do you put it in for archive again? Can you
double archive it?
This needs to be re-archived.
Needs to be re-archived. That's funny. Yeah. If you find archived, take it and then hide it again, and for some reason it gets archived again, I wouldn't want to hide that one again. There's something cursed about that container.
Yeah.
I think you would want
to too much.
That needs to go in that's when you go pick it up and throw it in the trash can, because there's something wrong.
Well, is it still waterproof?
Yeah,
exactly. I don't know. It could be waterproof, but it sounds cursed to me. I don't think you'd want to do that.
Cache
wow, 106
archive cache on Log On. Look for. That's awesome. Again, this is kind of a silly part of the game, but we got to have fun, right? We got to have fun with these things, and get out there, have fun, find ways to play and enjoy it, and be creative.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Andy, thanks again for being on tonight. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
It's a cool way to find some additional containers and or finds. So again, thanks again for being on tonight.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, appreciate it. Stay in touch, and we'll just tell everybody good night. So good night, everybody, as I find the correct outro. See, this is why I want to.
So you were producing so well up until this point.
I was producing. Oh, here we go. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
May your finds be many, and your DNFs be few. May the terrain and difficulty both be less than 2. And whatever it is you're looking for, may it find its way to you. And may we all meet again.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Please email us your comment at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.